Hey, everybody. I've got my buddy Jake Rodriguez popping in the screen there. How's it
That's
going,
good,
Jake?
everybody. Hey, pretty good, man. How about yourself?
Oh, I got no sound on you. Oh, go ahead.
You hear me now?
I got you.
All right, perfect.
Let me get this shared out real quick off of to our Spirit Recon page. We welcome everybody to our Thursday night show live with Spirit Recon. We've got a fabulous guest, and I've got my co-host Jake Rodriguez right there. How you doing tonight, Jake?
I'm doing fantastic as always, man.
Good. Like I said, let me get this shared to my page, our Spirit Recon page, and there we go. All right. Well, tonight, Jake, we've got a great guest, and we're going to get right to it. So let me welcome to the show Mr. Dan Klaes.
Hey, Dan.
There you are. Hey, Dan, how you
Hey,
doing?
you could hear me but couldn't see me.
Yeah, well, you got like a 3 second launch until we go. So I said it, and then it went. So welcome to the show, Dan. Thanks for joining a couple Midwest guys um, and talking paranormal with us. We appreciate it.
No problem. Yeah, this is fun. I always love doing this.
For people that don't know Dan, and if you don't know Dan, I suggest after tonight, definitely you're going to want to know Dan. Um, but first off, Dan's a husband. He's a father. He's a paranormal investigator. He's the co-founder of a team, Greater Western New York Paranormal Society. He's a haunted location owner, the Hinsdale House in Hinsdale, New York. He's an author, host of TV shows, and been on many of shows that are on Amazon Prime and Vidi Space, and we'll get to that. Um, the man of many hats, Dan Klaes.
Thank you.
How do you pull that off and be all that, Dan? How do you? What kind of
Um,
super drink you
I, I
drinking?
my my family is my motivation. So every time I do something, I think about them and how I could better their lives. With what I'm doing. So that's kind of it.
That's incredible, man. So just seeing everything that you're connected to and everything you're tied to as far as, paranormal goes, it baffles me because you manage to, carry all these things as well as, maintain family and be a family man. And, being a paranormal investigator myself and having three little ones, I actually got one on the way. It's hard, and I find it difficult even with the little things that I do as far as trying to stay busy with the paranormal and, separate that from your family life and still be a father at the end of the day. So, I
Yeah,
mean, the fact that you do all these things, I take my hat off to you for sure.
you
It's
got to find a
incredible.
balance, and have a supportive wife. Because if you don't have a happy wife, then none of this will work. So.
Yeah, we know the saying, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
all three got that in common. So, um, but Dan, I'd be remiss if we didn't say up front, your humbleness and your soft-spokenness carries such a big stick in this community. Um, it's I know you're just a regular guy doing regular things, and I think that's what makes it. But like Jake said, the way you carry yourself and the way you pull all this together really stands out to the paranormal community. So, from us to you, we appreciate you kind of being that role model for us.
Well, thanks. I mean, I try. It's just treat people the way you want to be treated. That's the way I've always kind of looked at it and
Absolutely. Absolutely.
work together.
Cool. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. So let's dive into Dan Klaes a little bit. You grew up with some paranormal happenings happening in your house. You really didn't know they're paranormal because you're a child, but later your parents kind of admitted that things were going on.
Yeah, way later in life, they finally admitted it to us that they were seeing things and hearing things, and just didn't want to freak us out as kids, living in the house. I mean, I guess if you look into the reality of what stuff happened there compared to what we deal with now, it was nothing really that bad. It was just kind of they were children spirits, and they weren't
Okay.
malicious. They were playful. They liked to tease, sing, and dance, and I heard them. I didn't ever see them. Maybe I did in the basement at one point, but because I thought I saw like a shadow, but I've never saw like the full body apparition like my son did, like my wife did. Saw the little apparition of a girl on the stairs.
Well,
But it was really kind of like a reality check for me, because I had gone to a psychic community called Lilydale, and I didn't really think too highly of psychics at that point in my life. Excuse me. And before I sat down with the psychic that I had made an appointment with, she had told me, you have 2 children spirits living in that house, and they're attached to something that's original to them. And I was like, man, and then she started telling me stuff about my grandfather, and I'm like, how's this lady know all this stuff about me? Going through my garbage or something like that, So it really kind of threw me for a loop. And then I ended up buying the house from my parents when they sold it. And then my son started having kind of the same things that were happening to me, except he actually was seeing a little boy. And I was a little bit more embracive with him as far as, so he wasn't so scared, and he kind of understood, because I had started into this stuff, and things would move, crayon drawings on the ceiling, just little things, that would scare you if you didn't know what you were dealing with. So
yeah,
absolutely.
I'm not sure that's that's pretty intense. Not knowing who did that.
Yeah. So it was after I bought the house, it was weird, because we couldn't figure out what they were attached to. We knew that we were there. I knew that they had died of cystic fibrosis, because I had found the death listing on microfiche in the library. And we ended up going up into the attic that we had never been into, one of those ones with a little square in the ceiling, And when I put the flashlight around, I saw these boards, and we tiptoed over to not fall through the roof or the ceiling on these boards. And then when we turned them around, they were paintings of a little boy and a little girl playing with a dog, and there was a series of them. So it was kind of neat to actually
kind of like validate
solve the story,
Yeah. Wow.
Well, one of my later questions was going to be, what do you think about haunted objects? You apparently they can be attached to the objects. You believe in that for sure?
Yeah, I mean, I think there could be something that somebody holds so dear to their heart that it may be something that symbolizes their life that they want to reconnect with or want to hold on to. And once we acknowledge that, and we acknowledge them, it seemed like it helped them to cross over, because they weren't coming around as much.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, we think we have some ghosts that are spirits attached to it could be maybe the last piece of their history, of their remaining history, whether it be a paycheck that's on display in a museum or whatever, what I'm saying? It's the last remnant in this world of them. So I do believe that they can be attached to objects.
I've done some stuff with the Hinsdale house, some items that I've received that they Clara Dandy. I mean, I know nobody knows who that is at this point, or maybe you do if you follow me. But I had some items that she talked about in her book, and then I had some items that we found in the ground, and we had items that were given to me from the priest that did the exorcism. And it's funny when people take a K2 meter and put it over the arrowheads that we found in the ground, or the chalice, they're getting EMF spikes from these items. So it's kind of weird.
Yeah, that is definitely
that's
weird.
Incredible. I'm pretty into Native American lore, Native American history, stuff like that. Being Native American myself, so that's definitely something, especially in the areas that we live in, from Fred to me, all along the Illinois River. There's so many old ancient villages that used to be there. Right. I live a half hour away from Starved Rock State Park, so I mean, the Native American history is pretty thick around here. So everywhere we go, that's usually the first kind of thing I tune into, because it's the oldest, so that's kind of, okay, make sure this isn't Native American. Let me check the land. Let me study up on the land. Let me go check the deeds office and see what I can pull up there. Do everything I can to see if I can back it all the way up to that Native American history, because a lot of times, especially in my area and Fred's as well, that's kind of where it starts,
I think that's one of the layers of the location that I purchased, for sure. I don't know. It's so hard when you're dealing with Native American culture and trying to find out history when you're not a Native American. They don't want to work with you as much, But we have been able to, I have been able to have a shaman come out to the house. I've been able to have rituals done where we were able to connect with native spirits that are on the property. We've been able to date the tribes back to 1701 on the property. So it's, definitely because there's mounds, there's burial mounds, and the last mound builders were, predating what's there now. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So we really had to dig.
Wow.
We really see some, as I got to doing homework for this interview, and we'll get to a lot of it. Hopefully, I'm going to talk about the Hinsdale house. I think because it in itself deserves a show, in my our estimation. But there's some similarities between your hauntings and our hauntings, and we'll kind of get to that. And layers, you brought up layers, is the first thing I wrote down on my list. So we're thinking right. So you, after these, you grew up and basically you wanted to start a paranormal team. It was still on your mind. It was still part of your life or your thought process. Is that right?
Well, I had an interest after the whole thing with my house.
Right.
I was kind of on a personal quest to learn. And I started doing the touristy things, going to Gettysburg, going to all those places, and I started just listening to the tour guides and then taking paranormal tours with experienced tour guides that maybe have dealt with things like that I've dealt with from my house. And it was a constant learning for me. And then later ended up meeting a friend. As I walked into work one day, he had on his computer pictures that he had captured at the Theodore Roosevelt inaugural site in downtown Buffalo, and amazing blue spherical type, I don't even want to call them orbs, and then pictures of shadow people. And we immediately got a liking, and I started showing him some pictures I had, and then decided that we would start a group because we both wanted to explore and learn more, and just been a learning journey, so helping people and to where I am today. It's just been one thing after another. You take a chance here, you go somewhere and you meet somebody, and that's the thing I like about what I do the most, is being able to go to other locations across the country and meet new paranormal teams and work with everybody and just learn from each other. You know what I mean?
100%. You've been to all 50 states too, it says, right?
No, there's a few. I haven't been to Montana. I haven't been to Washington. I haven't been to Arizona.
Okay.
There's a few, still a few I need to tap into.
Still got a few on the list. Yeah.
I basically got to go where I'm told, for the most part.
Yeah. Where you're called. So that's what that's what led you then to the Hinsdale house in New York, which we're getting to, but was your paranormal investigate, searching out sites, looking for these answers and looking for a paranormal.
Correct.
That's cool. And then, so you get, you stumble on Hinsdale, you fall in love with it. Like we have locations here. Well, it's kind of it's a love-hate thing, kind of, isn't it?
Yeah,
love thing.
No, it definitely felt drawn to the location, after the initial investigation, because of the amount of activity that happened there. And it was like unlike any other location I had ever been to, as far as having my equipment go off, getting EVPs, everything worked. It was like they were just calling out, saying, "Help me," or get answers, Daniel, don't leave us. Yeah. That's kind of how I felt.
Here.
Well, I mean, you have those experiences right off the bat. It's kind of hard not to take it that way. That would be my initial thought, is that, wow, this place really needs to say something, for sure.
Yeah. But I think that happens to a lot of people that come there as well. Like, a lot of people are drawn to the location, and once they go, they want to come back because they need to. One day is not enough time to spend there.
Oh, absolutely. I could definitely see that.
Couple shout outs in chat real quick. We've got Linda Judd, hello from California, and Glenn Morgan looks like says hello from the East Coast. Also Bill Caldem and Corbin Larson, friend of mine. Carol Fletcher from Australia is watching, and we got, I'm gonna mispronounce this, I guess it's Ein Daly. Says, hey, Dan Klaes.
Hi.
Fine. So we've got a mixed crowd, and thank you for joining us. We hope you're enjoying it. So, Dan, like I said, I wanted to kind of leave the Hinsdale house to the end because there's so much to talk about. And like I said, there's correlations. As I got to doing in writing your information down, I came up with more questions like paranormal investigator. I just want to sit down and pick your brain to see what you think about some things that we've found because they're similar. But so we'll get to that. But through these paranormal journeys that you're taking, you've ended up on quite a few TV shows. But My Paranormal Nightmare is the kind of the story of your childhood, right?
Correct.
And you're host of Within These Walls, which is on VidiSpace and Amazon Prime. Ghost Finders is your current project, one of your current projects.
Yeah, one of the very many.
Yeah, one of the very many. You're in your third season filming with that?
This is I did 3 episodes with them for their 9th season, and then they asked me to join them for their 10th season as a permanent investigator.
That's awesome.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
I think I got a little clip of that up there. Put that up there. This is for the most watched. It's Rob Thompson, right? I think it's Thompson.
Rob Thompson, Megan Deputy, myself, and Melody Knapp for this year.
Awesome cast of investigators, and this is the most watched self-produced paranormal show in America, I believe.
And in the UK as well.
UK as well. Guys, if you're looking for good paranormal, real paranormal, I think that's the thing with you, Dan. And we'll get into Nick Groff as we get into the house and the paranormal lockdown. But I think that's Nick. Jake and I met at a function with Nick. We're drawn to the realness of you. There's a believability, honesty with you that we can trust as an investigator. We can share. We can believe. That's the way we got to be. I think those kind of investigators are the best investigators.
Yeah, I mean, just got to be real, right? I mean, people are trying to blow smoke. I mean, it's people are going to notice, and that's why I always say it's like, if there's people that are acting fake, don't get so bent out of shape about it, because the true colors are going to come out at some point and they're going to be gone. So just be yourself, and if you have a question, don't be afraid to ask it. You don't have to know everything. You don't have to know all, see all. Just be yourself, and and continue to learn as you go down the journey.
Yeah, that's kind of how we feel, and Jacob and I have approached it from day one. We learn something new every time we go out. Every day we talk about it. It's a constant learning journey. It has to be. There's no scientific approach to this. I think we all wish there was, or think that we're trying to develop one. But the truth is, we're really just poking at it.
Right.
And really, it's off to share what we have, like you said, with everybody, and see. It only validates. We've been a part of validating a couple of young psychics, and if that wasn't information we were willing to share, in that manner, the paranormal is not going to grow if we don't share. So,
right. Can I just mention too, the Ghost Finders? We just put out a special that we filmed cinematically, as opposed to the typical IR camera going through the dark, all that type of stuff. We really wanted to do things differently, and it's called Winchester. And we spent 3 days filming at Winchester Mystery House with Nick and Justin, his cousin, and we had an awesome DP, a great cast of reenactors, and we really wanted to tell the story of Sarah Winchester and try to connect with her while we were there. And it was quite an amazing turn of events when we got there. So if anybody wants to check that out right now, it is on VidiSpace, and it will be put up on Amazon Prime very soon, but it's available on VidiSpace right now.
Oh, awesome.
That'd be next on my list.
Check that out.
On the list. And are you in this? I've heard this Dead Remains. I know I didn't want to bring up Nick Groff yet, but
no, it's fine.
Dead Remains is you're going to be in this with Nick?
So it's not so much about me being in it. I will play a part in it because I own the house.
Okay.
But it's basically what we're trying to do with Dead Remains is there was a story that was written by Clara Miller, called Echoes of a Haunting. She was the mother of the family that lived there in 1970s, 70 through 74, that experienced poltergeist-like activity at the house, infestation, a failed exorcism at this location that I own. And her daughter died, her son has passed away, and our goal is to really dive in, kind of like an Oak Island type of thing at the Hinsdale house, and really make it more of an investigation, not just a paranormal investigation, but an investigation into what could possibly have made this stuff happen to scare this family away to California from Western New York back in the 70s. And it's been amazing because Clara lives in Oregon now, and I've got to go there and meet her twice and hear it from her own words and see the tears come from her face. And it's being able to give her answers is the ultimate goal. Give her some closure. She's older, and
Right.
but that's what we do this for. And up to all these years have gone by, and she's got no answers. It's just more questions. And me owning the location, it allows us to really dig in, if you will.
Right. I mean, you got all the time, to put in all the time and effort to put in there. And
So
she's been living with this, for years and years and years.
So, I mean, we're looking at the folklore stories of the house to see if any of that's true. We're bringing in like ground penetrating radar, forensic divers. We're bringing in the works, man, just to be able to give her some type of closure, for herself.
That's incredible. Yeah, that's amazing, man. That's fantastic.
And it's
I
all
hope you guys
documented.
are doing something. I mean, you could only, but I really do hope that you guys come give her some closure.
And I think that the docudrama that we're putting together, Nick's editing it right now. I think it's going to be it's going to be so amazing. People are just going to be thrown from a loop seeing this thing.
Well, I'm excited to see it for sure.
Definitely. So
I got a quick question, real quick. Do you still own your family home, the haunted one?
No, I sold that about 5 years ago.
Okay.
I actually bought the house across the street, so I look at it every day. My neighbor, that house is about 1,200 square foot, smaller yard. And my neighbor that lived across the street, I always joked with him because he had this, 2,350 square foot house with a double lot, and I'm like, when you're ever ready to sell your house, let me know. And then one right before Christmas, about 5-6 years ago, he came over and he's like, I'm ready to sell. And he gave it to me for such a good price, and it needed a lot of fix up. It hadn't been updated, but so we moved across the street. It was the easiest move ever.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. But it's cool because I get to talk to the people that live there, and haven't really experienced anything, or noticed anything. I don't want to freak them out either. So.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, it doesn't hurt for them not to know, and as long as nothing's happening and they're safe there.
With me, so they're still with me at this house. So maybe the spirit's energy came with it as well. But we haven't, in the years that we've lived here, we haven't experienced anything either. So.
No. Okay.
Maybe they finally just crossed over.
Yeah, could be. I mean, it could be any number of reasons, but
moved on.
It's definitely something we don't understand.
It's something we make up. So I believe, they may not think they're gone, and they'll be gone for years. So.
Yep.
One more thing before we get into the Hinsdale house, full blast. Your involvement with the community and the surrounding area, your whole state, really, as far as paranormal, pushing, helping people, giving them suggestions. You have friends that bought haunted locations. One of them's the Wildwood Sanitarium.
Correct. Yes.
So you're helping with that and helping run that. That to me, again, I mean, you're pushing the limits. You didn't just sit on your laurels. You're helping the paranormal. You're pushing for these properties to be saved. You're helping other folks like yourself with advice. So
yeah, that's all we can all do,
I'm supposed to be out there in April. We'll get to that. But Wildwood, what's your opinion of Wildwood as far as the haunting?
So she came to me, Lori Wagatha, who owns the location. She was a frequenter, big supporter of my group, Greater Western Paranormal Society. So she'd always come to a lot of the events that we did at different locations and investigate with us. And she became a good friend of ours, And she was at my birthday party, and she pulled me in the back and she said, "Dan, I'm thinking about buying this location." She goes, "But I don't know the first thing about running a business, and I don't know." I wouldn't know what to do with it, but I'm just drawn to the building and I want to save it because it was on the demolition block, basically.
Gotcha.
And she ended up buying it. And my first goal was it needed a new roof, and my other goal was to try to get it some exposure through a television show of some kind, or just get it out there. I can co-market it when people call me for the Hinsdale house and be like, "Yo, we got a new sanitarium an hour down the road. Why don't you make a weekend out of your trip and investigate 2 locations?"
Yeah.
Easy as that, right? And that worked. I started investigating it, and I had what I thought was a residual shadow figure that I saw with my own eyes. I've never seen anything like this in my whole life, but it just kept doing what it was doing. I was doing a geoport session, and they call it the doll room on the 2nd floor. And when I looked over to the right, I saw the shadow just start moving. And then it went up the stairs, and we followed it up the stairs, and it was going in each room of the sanitarium, and then it dissipated down the hall. Now, they had poltergeist-like activity happening there, and that was enough evidence for me to call Nick, because I knew he was booking locations for season 3 of Paranormal Lockdown. And it's always cool for a show be able to go into a location that's never been on TV before and rarely investigated. So he came and did it, and man, did the house really just show up for him, and got it on that show, and then ended up getting on America's Most Terrifying Locations as well. And it's just been, we finally, I can say happily that we have been able to start getting the roof fixed. This right before this winter, we got a lot of the big things that were leaking, and the faucet's done, and we've been raising money for it for a long time. It's not as easy a roof as it was as Hinsdale House, because of all the peaks and it's an old, it looks like an old Victorian type thing, on the top. So it's harder to deal with.
Wow.
Well, again, that's awesome. I can't wait to get out there and see both locations, and Niagara Falls and all of upstate New York. So, again, it just shows what can be done. If one man can do it, then why can't others do it? Put out that good energy back out into the paranormal instead of just trying to take over.
I think there's a lot of people that are doing it too. It's the one thing that stood out for me when I got the Hinsdale house was the amount of people that wanted to help. And I wouldn't have been able to get that roof done the first year if it weren't for the supporters of the location. I did a day of caring where like 64 people show up that would paint and donations and stuff that had to put up.
Wow.
And we ended up getting donations for part of the roof and some shingles. Then we ended up getting the whole roof done before winter. And I didn't know how we were going to do that because I used every cent I had to buy the location. And they were patch jobs, and eventually I had to do it all the right way, but it was enough to save the weather from getting in or patching a hole or letting it rot more. So it was it's been a long process, one thing after another, but it could definitely be done, and people are there. They want to support. It's a lot of people just have that egos. It's not necessary,
Jake and I are lucky enough to do a couple public events in 2019. Of course, we couldn't do them in 2020, but to help raise money for the Historical Society here in Wilmington, so that they put a roof on. We only raised a small portion, don't get me wrong, but it still felt good to raise anything. And we did help out for the Boy Scouts also thrown in there to get some new tents and camping gear that was badly needed in the community.
Yeah, there was a local team, Soulsgate Paranormal, in Buffalo, that put together kind of like a psychic kind of arts and crafts fair at the Wildwood Sanitarium when we could over the summer, and it was an outdoor event, and they ended up raising almost $4,000 for the
Oh,
location,
wow.
which was, you know,
Wow.
it's nice to just sometimes sit back and just be told what to do.
Yeah.
So it was nice, and they did a great job, and they helped with the house, and that's what I don't know, like Western New York. I see para unity all over the place. Everybody gets along. I don't see any drama. I don't see any egos. And even the people that have been involved with the paranormal for years and years and years, like Tim Shaw, Joe Pieri, all those type of people that live in my area, they're there to help
Right.
each other, and they're at events, and they're uh, cheering people on and helping people. And I've noticed that in Michigan a lot. I've noticed it in Ohio and Iowa a lot, where people are just getting along, and you don't really see that drama anymore. And I'm hoping that people are just getting it. Like there's really no need for it. And there's
I think it's like the rest of the world. You got a few idiots, and everybody focuses. They get the focus, and the
yeah,
right. Just like you can hear as many bad things about society as you want, but everybody I meet out in public is as nice as we are here. So where are those idiots at that they're showing? They're not as frequent. You're only seeing, and that kind of sticks out, and that's unfortunate. But guys like that's why I brought up what I did about you. Guys like you do stick out, so you're putting a balance back in there, man.
well, we
So
try to build bridges if we can.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I feel like if as long as you show who you truly are, like you were talking about, and you're a decent enough person, people are going to see that and they're going to gravitate to you. And that's all I find. I'm a decent enough guy. Fred is too. We're likable people. Everywhere we go, it just seems like we always have people around us. And my wife's telling me, well, you guys are good people. You need to start thinking about that. And that's something that I don't think about. It's like, maybe we are great people, and people like to hear what we want to say. They like to come to our events. And I mean, not being a bully, we have somebody we're tied to who started Paranormal Bully Busters page on Facebook,
Yeah,
and that goes right
part of
along
that.
to what we're talking about, and that's pretty cool. That's something that you weren't seeing, 5-10 years ago, but now you're seeing this unity, and it's incredible because with that unity comes more knowledge and people sharing that knowledge rather than honing it and keeping it to themselves. You know what I'm saying?
yep,
Right.
yep. It is. It's hopefully the wave of the future. So maybe we'll get into that just a second before we close. But so our timelines kind of come back. The Hinsdale house is basically in bad shape, and you decided, hey, I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna jump in. I love the location. It was built in 1853, right? And how you convinced the wife that you're gonna buy a haunted house?
Yes. Yes, that was a big convincing.
Yeah.
Because we had just bought this house, and then for me to say, honey, can I use the rest of our savings to buy this income property down in the southern tier, which is an hour and a half away, that
Wow.
needs a new roof. It's got black mold all throughout the kitchen. Oh, by the way, there's 500,000 honeybees living in the wall. Like little things. No major. Needs
Nothing
all new
major.
siding, new paint, new everything basically. But
You
we
didn't get a home warranty with it then, did you?
no, no, I had to buy it with cash, or else it
I
wasn't.
know. Nobody's gonna finance it for you.
No bank
That's
was going to
crazy.
finance that thing.
That's crazy. Well, then the fun begins, and it really begins because, like you said, you put together. Friends came to help. I got a picture of it. I'll show up in the stream. Friends came to help, and you got some things fixed. There's a nice picture of it.
Yeah, that's
Then
now.
the biggest thing first one of the biggest things is paranormal lockdown. You got contacted by Nick Groff's cousin or something like that, or
Oh, I was getting contacted by a lot of people,
right?
and it's not all about money, and I say that a lot. It's not, if you're doing things the right way, things will come around. So trying to stiff arm somebody for $150 or whatever, it's for me, it was more important to have a good investigator come to the house and maybe
Mhm.
tell 10 other investigators that what an experience they had there, and let the house sell itself, as opposed to making that money. But when I got in contact, when Justin got in contact with me, I was just in the beginning stages of researching the location in depth that I could, getting the deed and whatnot. And he knew more about the location than I did. So I was like, man, this is pretty awesome. I need to probably have this guy come to my house, especially since he knows more than me. He's got articles that I don't have. And I was like all in. And before even knowing that Nick was involved with it. And he's like, all right, well, I'm going to get you a contract, and we need to film on these dates. And I marked them off on my calendar. And then I got the contract from Groff Entertainment. And I was like, I kind of did like a double take when I got it in the mail. I was like, wait a second, this is one of the big guys, the big guys, and I was like probably one of the top, if you pick top 5 investor, paranormal celebrity in the nation, he would be one of them, and I was just kind of at a loss, that he would be coming there. But what an amazing journey it's been with him and his, group.
Yeah, you two hit it off, definitely. So that's when you first met. What did you think of Nick? Of course, you knew of him. What did you think of him? Your opinion beforehand?
Well, I mean, I loved what he did, on the show, and I respect him for taking a step back and wanting to do his own thing, and taking his journey to the next level that he needed to take it to,
Right.
And that was part of where Paranormal Lockdown came in, and I at that point hadn't been involved with too much TV or any of that stuff, and you always heard stories about how this is faked and that's faked, and to be able to sit there and be involved, like he involved me with seeing the process and watching the process and what went into it. And yes, he actually did stay there. He didn't go stay at a hotel and then come back and film. I mean, he stayed at the location, and he cared so much about getting that evidence and being able to present evidence and tell the story of the location, that I was like, wow, this is amazing, that he's doing this. And they take a lot of crap for it too, because people aren't there, they don't know, and it's I guess it just comes with the territory. But he's genuine when he's investigating, and with the history that he gets. And Justin, his cousin, is just amazing with the research aspect of the locations as well. And he did that with Nick for Ghost Adventures 2 and some of the other shows that Nick was involved with.
Right.
So he's very in depth with it.
Yeah, both Jake and I were drawn. We went to I told you we met at Ashmore Estates. Nick Groff, Elizabeth Saint, and Johnny Hauser. What a combo there.
Yeah, that's a good one.
But we
that's a great group.
Nick Groff. There's just something believable about him, just like I said about you earlier. There's something trustworthy in Nick, the way he does, the way he handles himself, and the way he conducts.
He's just real. He's a person, like he's not. Yeah, he's been on a show, but when you talk to him, it's like he's just a person. And
it doesn't matter how many shows he's been on. He's the same.
Yeah. Especially at the events, when we go to the events, when we're at Ashmore, they do the little meet and greet and all that stuff. When he's up there talking in front of a group of people, I mean, he's so genuine. The way he speaks about the paranormal and his experience and, what he does, you can tell just right off the bat, well, this guy really loves what he's talking about. He's really into what he's talking about. He really cares about it. And that's just a feeling I got meeting Nick in person, because I didn't know him from Adam, just seeing him on Ghost Adventures. But when I actually got to stand there in front of him and listen to him talk about these stories and talk about the paranormal, right off the bat, I was sold. I was like, wow, this guy's genuine as heck. This is crazy. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree. I'm sold with him too, and he's got my loyalty. I'll stick up for him till I'm dead in the grave. So
yeah,
I trust him.
Yeah.
I trusted him with the whole process with this house. Elizabeth Saints in the chat room. Hi, Elizabeth. She's been a big part of she's been a big part of the house too, like with the storytelling with the dead remains. I mean, she's an executive producer on that project, and she's you should have seen this box of stuff that I sent to her, and she went through all of it and made storylines, and she did the wardrobe. She just did so much stuff with making this an outstanding, amazing show that's going to be coming out. and after the new year that it's going to blow people's minds.
Wow.
He works with is unbelievable too. Also, so the Ghost of Shepherdstown was one of my favorite. I loved how they did that. It's a lot like the haunted town that we deal with, Wilmington.
Yeah.
But so Nick comes out 72 hours paranormal lockdown. He films. You get to meet him. You work with him. That place left an effect on him also, not just you and him. That house affected it got inside of him, didn't it? Kind of.
Yeah, I mean, it's still calling to him, and he had something follow him home from there. Now, at the beginning, you meet the guy, you don't like talk to him every day, like I was still kind of like, man, I don't want to bug him, I don't want to throw anything at him that's annoying, or I don't want to be that guy, but there was one instance where I was at the house doing a little tour, and after he left, it seemed to like die down as far as the anger. There was like an angry spirit there, and it was like non-existent for weeks. And then all of a sudden, during this tour, we started getting through my portal, saying, "Where's Nick?" Where, kept saying his name, and then I said, so I videotaped it and I sent it to him, and he called me up. And he goes, "That's crazy." He goes, I just did a cleansing. Then he goes, "I got to tell you all about this," and he told me about how, he felt like something had followed him to his house and in his basement. And you saw that on the episode that he did with the Black Monk House, because he tied the two together. And he had done that cleansing, and then boom, all of a sudden it was like back to the Hinsdale house. It went like it was asking for him. It still does.
That's crazy. He almost got sick. He could not even sleep in the one room, and he almost got sick. It almost makes me sick to watch it when Katrina was outside and he was inside. Man, it really got to him. He was really a part of the energy in there.
He knew what he was doing, and he knew that he was opening himself up to that energy, and that was part of what he was doing with the show, so he could connect with the location and be able to tell the story and give the evidence of the location. I don't recommend everybody doing that.
No.
Stay grounded.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. There's been it airs on television. It helps pick up the traffic a little bit, but the amount of evidence, the house itself churns out the evidence or data, however you want to say it. Stuff that can't be explained, pictures, videos, ghost animals, maybe spirits, pukwudgie in the woods, possibly.
Mm-hmm.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? The amount of captures that have been out of this house.
Yeah.
Compared to what you've seen.
Unbelievable.
Do you think we deal with the same thing here in Wilmington? We're able to go to almost 10 different locations in this town, and we can get paranormal data or evidence at almost any time in any 10. Sometimes it's the same spirits. Also, this was Native American land, as Jake was talking about earlier. We know that the land that you purchased at the Hinsdale house was Native American burial ground. We deal with the layers. It changes the way you look at paranormal investigation when you're dealing with layers. Can you explain to the folks how it's not just some lady in the 70s kicking it around or something in the house? You've got layers of paranormal evidence. How does that change us as an investigator as we try to delve into that?
Well, I think when you're going into an investigation, you really have to look at what potential layers there are on the property and the land and the house itself as well. I mean, the fact that a structural exorcism didn't work can say a million words. Maybe there's a lot more to the story. Maybe there's a lot more that needs to be looked at as far as what's going on this property.
Right. Maybe.
And just with the elements of the Native American spirits, the relics that we have found, the stories of witches there. I mean, to me, like from the moment I got that location, I knew that it was going to take a lot, not just one team or one group or one person going to come in and clear that location. It's going to take a lot of work, and it's going to take a lot of patience, and it's going to take a lot of healing from not just a priest, but maybe from a witch, or maybe from a shaman, or you know, all different types of religions. It could be affecting that land. So bringing in all those type of lay people, trying to have them work together, has been working, and you can feel a difference from when I bought it. You can feel a difference with the rituals that we've done there, and everything's done positively with peace and grounding and happiness and light, and it's bringing that to the house. It's still active, but I feel like we're making headway. We're making headway with answers. So, which is what we're put here for.
Exactly. So in theory, do you think, I've heard you talk about a vortex or a portal. We've examined that here in this town. I guess the question as an investigator, I'm always wondering is that the layers of energy that causes the hauntings to be what it seems to be greater here and there, or is it a portal that's creating these layers? And do you know where I'm going with that? I'm not sure.
No, I don't know. I feel like the portal has a lot to do with the house. I don't know that it has to do much with the land. Because it seems like what's in the house stays in the house, kind of, in a way. And a lot of teams will tell you that when they come there, like say the house isn't giving them any type of evidence, or they're not getting any type of data in the house. They go outside, maybe walk up the hill or go out by the pond, things start happening. So I feel like that's kind of stuck in the house in a way, you know.
I gotcha. That's interesting. That's very.
But I'm not saying I'm right. You know, I don't know if I'm right. I just that's kind of the feeling I get, you know, being there.
Well, you've got on this land, you've got, and the land is, I'm telling you, I'm drawn to the land. Ever since I heard about you and started watching that, well, ever since Paranormal Lockdown filmed, that episode came out. I'm a huge Nick Groff fan. Couldn't wait for that episode to air. Episode aired, and there became an attachment with the land. I want to put my feet in the soil there. Something I don't care about the house. I don't even know, maybe I'm shying away from the house. I don't know, but I feel positive. I feel drawn to the land. Native American burial ground. There was a hanging tree. So much history with this house. There's a murder there, or a brother shot a brother. Is that correct?
Yeah, on the neighboring property, close enough. A young boy that was killed by a buzzsaw chain snapping and cracking him in the head behind the barn.
And that's just history we know of, too. That's just, you continue to dig and find more. As you mentioned, the family moved in. Did they move in the 70s? I knew they lived there in the 70s. That's when the failed exorcism was, right?
Yeah, 1970 through 1974.
74.
The Dandy family.
The Dandy family that we referenced earlier, that Nick Groff and Elizabeth Saint and yourself are working with to bring some closure. That's going to be awesome. They're in it. That's when the exorcism take place, right? 74
took place right before they left. They spent 3 years there. They spent 3 years trying to work with the priest and work with a psychic medium, trying to figure out if they could stop what was happening, and they tried doing a mass in the kitchen. They tried to do a house blessing. They tried a lot of things before they gave up their hopes and dreams, because that was basically it for them. They had to give up everything that they put into that house. They lost and had to start over basically on the West Coast.
Wow.
So that was a last ditch effort, for them to have to leave.
Right. So that exorcism fails, correct?
Correct. Now, I want to make a point that it was a structural exorcism. It wasn't on a person. It was more like a house blessing.
A house, exactly. But it didn't stop the activity.
Correct.
So then the person that they moved then after that,
the priest came back and basically told them, that he's done all that he knows what to do in his power, and his advice to them was to just flee, and get out of that location, get out of harm's way, and they did what he said.
That's a crazy story, and then That's it. That's
I mean,
just,
coming from a priest, I mean, it's kind of, for me, it'd be hard not to take that advice.
Yeah, and you got to think about this too. Like 74, that's prior to the Exorcist movie coming out, so it was very taboo. It wasn't something that people were used to dealing with back then on a normal basis. And this priest, thank God, for him, that the St. Bonaventure University was close by, and he actually studied the occult, studied different religions, and was very intuitive as far as that goes.
Okay.
wow. So much history, so much, so much
Well, no wonder
information.
why. I think it was the highest. Was it the highest viewed? That show in particular, the with Hinsdale House on Paranormal Lockdown was.
Yeah,
I think I read on the internet was the highest viewed.
Yeah, I think so. And first of all, it was
and if it
unbelievable.
wasn't, we'll just go with that anyway. So
Yeah,
It was.
I'm pretty sure I did read that on the internet, if I'm not mistaken. So I mean, but again, it is the internet. So.
true.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's all been. We're not going to say it's evidence. We can't say that, but it's all been captured. You've captured. I saw some pictures of a girl in a wedding dress. You've got the Pukwudgie peeking out behind the tree. Spirit animals been caught on film in there. I was going to upload your YouTube. I may do that real quick. Can I show that video off your YouTube with a cat?
Yeah, sure.
So what we had was an investigator. You can tell that story real quick. She just showed. She investigated. Go ahead.
Yeah, so the team was Warriors of the Paranormal. Her name, the team leader, was Bobby Ann Merritt. She's a good friend, and she's been involved with coming to the house a lot. So she was going to the house before I bought it, and after I bought it, she was supporting the location, and she had booked a night there. And I just remember her saying what a quiet night it was. Not much had happened, and I said, "Oh well, that's paranormal. You can't make it happen. And then she had filmed herself sleeping. She set up a static camera and faced it towards her while she was sleeping. And she had called me like, Dan, oh my God, you got to see these pictures or these videos from when I was sleeping. And you'll see them in a second. They're up on my YouTube page.
Yeah.
They're pretty crazy just to think that something like that may have happened. And one of the videos, it looks like an arm's going underneath the blanket. And another video, it looks like there's a animal that's popping out of the couch and underneath her blanket and then moving around and going back down, like.
I showed that video to my wife tonight, and dude, she said, "Where's that at?" She don't know if she's going in April now. So anyway,
she could sleep on that very couch, tell her.
Yeah, that's right. Put her on that same couch. So guys, they're going to show the video here, and they're filming this woman sleeping. Let me see if I can get this to play. And
that's the arm. It looks like an arm going underneath the blanket.
Exactly. Look at it darting up her back. You don't even.
Now that's on a replay, so you're seeing it over and over again.
Right. It's on a replay. Yep. And they're filming it onto a phone there.
That's an arm.
Let me
coming up from in back of Bobby.
I'll see if I can get the. I'll let that one play while I go look for the one with the cat. Looks
Did you
like
get
a
the
cat.
time on that?
I think that's it.
That is an
that's
hour and 6.
Some Patreon. Watch this, Jake. Look at the watch. I can't. No, that's. No, I got it. Let me pull it up. Hold on.
Now you get to see some of the videos I watch. Haunt Me, they're a good one. Undertaker, that's a good one.
Let's see. I gotta get this off here. Oh, I got myself. I'm gonna hide you real quick, Jake. I got to because I can't. All right, I think this is it then. With the, I don't know how to make it bigger.
Bob sleeping, right there.
But guys, got to go to Dan Klaes, subscribe to his Facebook, and look at this. I'm gonna bring Jake back in. I don't think Jake can see it. I'll replay it.
No, I can't. But
Let's see
it's
if I
fine.
can make that
I've seen
big.
it. Yeah.
You see that popping out like underneath the blankets, and boop, it's gone.
Mhm.
What is that?
Yeah, it's
This
crazy,
is at
and
Hinsdale.
there's nowhere for it to sink back down to.
Nope.
It's funny how fast it scoops down, and there's nowhere. It'd have to be under the couch. It'd be through the
As you can
couch.
see,
Mhm.
I am not
It's a
moving.
crazy video. You can see this,
This
head
is
popping
Bobby
up,
sleeping on a
Oh,
very
man, it's
small
crazy.
couch.
and with the picture of the ghost cat that you've captured before, that's really, really crazy. So, Dan, what do you got? I know you got everything's pretty much linked to your Facebook, Dan Klaes, or go ahead and give your where they can find you. People can find you and find videos like that.
Yeah, my website's danielklaes.com, and all of my social media is linked to that page. So my YouTube page will be up there, my Facebook, all Instagram, all that stuff. I'm pretty easy to get in contact with. You know, if you shoot me a message anywhere, I try to reply to everybody. So, you know, just hit me up on whatever you like.
Very cool. Jake, you got any questions or last comments?
You know, I don't know if I asked this already, but you know, growing up in a haunted place, I know quite a few people who are living right now dealing with hauntings, and you know, maybe need some help. So they might be watching this. What advice would you have for people like that who are experiencing hauntings, who have children as well?
I would just feel comfortable. If you're going to call in a paranormal investigator, I would don't be afraid to treat it like it's an interview, you know, like an interview for a job, because when you bring somebody into your house, you want to bring sure that you're bringing in somebody that's knowledgeable and can understand your circumstances. I mean, kind of like, and I say this a lot. Part of our job is counseling people. You know, trying to understand what people are going through, understand what they're dealing with, and being able to help them. Is part of it is talking to them, making them understand stuff. So if you're not capable of doing that, or you go in and you stir things up and make it worse for somebody, then it's not cool. You know, so just have patience. Have patience, you know, feel free to interview people or ask around. You know, there's tons of groups out there that you can get in contact, and they'll send people your way, and just have due diligence with it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, it's not hard anymore. I mean, there's so many, you could just Google paranormal team and boom, you're going to get 1,000 of them.
Yeah.
You know?
That's true. All willing to make the trip too, you know.
They are.
If they live
and if they can't, generally, like if somebody reaches out to me from someplace that I can't get to real quick, I usually will know somebody I can recommend in that area. So
right, correct, awesome.
Dan, we gave your social media. Where are you going to be at? I know 2020 has been different, but you got any cons or appearances?
I mean, there's cons that are booked. If they go through, and you know, I know for sure I'll be at Michigan Paracon, Mid Michigan Paracon, New Jersey Para-Unity Expo, and I know I'll be hitting up Iowa a few times if everything goes through. So just keep our fingers. Oh, I got booked in England this year, so please, coronavirus, go away. I want to go to England. You know, like I need to check that out. Yeah. So pending that everything gets back to normal somewhat, you know, I'll be all over the place. So just keep an eye on my social media.
Cool. Yep, that's where we're active at right now. That Spirit Recon on Facebook. Follow us also if you get a chance. Give Dan Klaes a like and go see. This guy works hard. First of all, he spent years of paranormal investigation. He's at a crazy haunted location. So he's capturing and hearing about all the evidence and the data. Guys, it's the real deal, and I can't wait to come out. And I met you down in St. Louis or wherever we were there, Mineral Springs, Illinois.
Mineral Springs, yeah, Illinois.
So I met you
During
down
the
there.
Flooding.
Can't wait to get on your stomping grounds out there in New York and hopefully break some bread with you and get to talk some paranormal and get.
Yeah, it'll be fun. We'll have a good time.
To put my feet down on that ground out there. So, Dan, appreciate it. Thanks for joining.
Thanks for having me.
No problem.
Thank you,
Jake.
Dan Klaes, everybody.
Yeah, you too, brother. Take it easy, man. Nice talking with you.
Have a good night.
Good night, Dan.
You too, brother.
Hey.
We
Still
off?
there? Oh,
We on the air or we off?
no, we're still on the air, buddy. Man, that was great talking to Dan Klaes. This has been Live with Spirit Recon. I'm Fred Scheidenberger. That's
Jake Rodriguez.
And we appreciate you joining tonight. Be back next week, same time, same night, Thursday, 8 p.m. Central. Steve Dills from Transcend Paranormal. He'll be in the same spot Dan was tonight, and we'll be talking paranormal Virginia style. So see you then, Jake.
All right, brother. Take it easy.
Thanks all for joining. Peace and love.